this episode of Madco Fabs. Alright, Monday morning like usual. Let's do some fun stuff. Let's build some stuff. Actually, today, remember, we're doing these episodes a little different. We're just going to go ahead and knock things out, and I'm going to show you what's going on. Today, we need to shorten that drive shaft. I don't know how, but I screwed up on something, and I'm just a little too short this way with the axle. So, with that being said, all I got to do, take 2 inches out of the drive shaft, weld the drive shaft back together, slap her back in, and Bob's your uncle. So, today, that's what I'm going to do. And maybe weld these perches on. I don't know. I don't know yet. All right. Well, let's see how far I get. I do have some things I got to do a little later today, but that doesn't matter. So, a little less talking, a little less goofing around. I'm going to start doing them kind of like Hillbilly said, over there at, Broken Bolt. Just kind of knocking them out and doing what I'm supposed to do. So, Madco Fabs, let's get to work. Okay, so the reason we're going to shorten this thing is not because it's not operational where it's sitting, but it is operational where it's sitting. I just was working on it one day and I climbed underneath it and got to look at the things. I have this yoke pressed in as tight as it can get, and I don't know how in the hell I did that. I don't know what happened. I even had a spacer on it to keep me from doing that, and it still got off anyway. So, as you can see, I still have plenty of adjustment to go out and in. So what I'm going to do, just to make myself feel a little bit more comfortable, like I said, this thing is operational where it's at. I'm going to take this drive shaft and I'm going to shave off 1 3/4 inches, maybe 2 inches. The people that are, listen, you can get this drive shaft really freaking cheap all over the place. It's a Tacoma, guys. It's not like it's a Ferrari. And I haven't welded down this perch that we made yet for the rear shocks. So I kind of want to get that drive shaft centered to where I like it. Axle centered to where I like it. Get the drive shaft cut. Get everything taken care of back here before I weld this down, so that way we know where it needs to be and the way we like it. Just wanted to kind of open everybody's eyes up to why I'm doing this and how I screwed up. Like I said, it makes no damn sense what happened. I checked my math over and over. I don't know if it was a math thing or if it was an adjustment thing. I don't even know. I don't know how it happened. Doesn't matter. So, I'm going to bust these 4 bolts. I will drop the drive shaft down on the ground, slide it out from underneath the truck, find me a random spot to take some measurements on it. I will section out 2 inches, cut it, slide it back over this yoke, and weld it back on. Now, check it out. Right here, if you grind this weld down, as you're grinding it down, we'll give you the opportunity to go ahead. Eventually, this will snap off of this, and then you can use this piece to feed back in and center back up. I will show you all when we get a little closer to that. This needs to be as close to rotational 0, or however you want to say it, as we can get it. We want it balanced, basically. We don't want any wobble to it as it goes like this. That'll destroy this bearing right here, and it'll eat the bearing in the back of the trans. It'll eat the whole damn trans, actually. So we need to get that as close as we can to perfect. Especially, or not especially, sorry, wrong set of words. Another trick is we can lay a center line on this. Helps line it back up to closer to where the weights were originally anyway. Shouldn't be that bad, but let's get to work. All right, I hope your view is good. I don't know, maybe it's not. Let's check this out. All I did was unbolt the drive shaft, guys. That's it. That's all I did. You didn't miss anything. See? Unbolted it. See this thing right here? This right here is a balancing weight. Go figure. Anyway, this is a balancing weight. So there's one here and there's one over there. If you notice, I don't think you can see it, but the other one is actually back a little further this direction, and this one's this way. Doesn't matter. Anyway, check this out. So I want to take 2 inches out of this, right? I could just cut it anywhere and do a 2-inch cutout, weld these 2 pieces back together, but this metal is not real thick. So not only is my heat transfer gonna, kind of change the bonding of this metal here, but now I'm creating a spot where it's gonna want to fracture. My weld's not perfect, blah, 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 blah. This yoke right here should extend into about right here, sliding inside the drive shaft. Drive shaft tube slides over this yoke, and then they welded it right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break this weld by grinding it down smooth and flush, get rid of it, and then pound the yoke off. Right? So that way I could slide this into a new section. Take 2 inches off, slide it back in, weld it back up. That 2 inches that I want to recut, as you can see, puts me right into this weight. So, are these weights important? Yeah, they're kind of keeping the balance. They're doing something, But check it out. This weight in particular, can you see all that trash slide out from underneath it? This weight is toast. So, I'm not really all that upset by slicing this weight off a 1/2 inch or whatever. Doesn't really bother me. And besides the fact, once I weld it up, maybe I'll take it and have it balanced. But, so, what I need to do is, I need to find a center line. That center line is going to help me put all this back in its balance, all of it back where it needs to be. So, what I want to do is I want to take my tape measure and I want to find, consequently, this little piece right here goes like this, kind of tapers together. So what I can do is I can actually use that to my favor by taking my tape, sliding down until I can find 2 inches, and then 1/2 of 2 inches gives me center. So I don't know if y'all can see that on there or not, but there. Now I have a center line on the yoke itself. This drive shaft's exactly 3 inches wide, so 1.5 inches is my center line. I would normally do this with some kind of gauge or something, but I'm going to be a little better at it by dragging my hand down it, just by like freehand. So there's my reference line. I'm going to go ahead and give me a nice dark line to play with. I love how it won't color right here for some reason. Doesn't matter, who cares? It's all relevant. Now I need to find my 2-inch brake line. We're going to go right here. We'll do a little rotate. Same difference. I hate that saying, I don't know why I said it. Same difference. All I'm doing is giving me an idea of where I need to be with my tape. The reason I'm using tape, and another thing you can do is like notebook paper. Notebook paper works really, really well for this. What you need to do is you need to find a way to cut a perfectly straight line. So I like to use tape. I've used tape for years. What the hell, I'm just gonna shut up. There's my line. Okay. So I have established my center line. That center line, sorry if you can't see it, That center line is going to give me the ability to line this yoke back up to this drive shaft after I cut it. The reason I want to do that is this drive shaft has been balanced. And if my welding and everything that I do is relatively good and I pay attention to how I'm doing everything and I don't beat up a whole lot of one spot, keeping this kind of balance will be a lot simpler. I don't have a identification gauge or any way of identifying balance in this or anything like that. So that's going to be kind of tricky to do. Do it by eye or do it by feel, which there's people out there who are going to tell you that are impossible. You know, I used to watch my grandfather do a lot of things about his dial gauge. And then he'd be dead on when he'd get it back out. Regardless, I'm going to go ahead and start grinding down this weld. We'll get this weld cut out. I'm not going to show you all of that. It's pointless. I'm going to get this weld cut down. When I get that weld cut down, then I will bring you back and show you how to knock that thing off there, which is literally just going to be us going, wow, and she'll come off, cut our tube, slide it back in, weld it up, and we're done. All right, so here's this. Where'd my pencil go? Hold on a minute. All right, so that's obviously the end yoke goes right here, right? Here's what I did. I took my grinder with a thick clean off wheel, grinding wheel, clean up welds and stuff. And I went around and I got rid of that weld. And flattened it all out until it was the same as the drive shaft itself. Instead of having like that bump up for the drive shaft or for the weld, I got it all nice and smooth. Then I took a cutting disc, right? I took a cutting disc and I cut myself in a 1/4 inch a strip. I hit it with a hammer a couple times. Didn't want to move. I come in another 1/4 inch and I cut me a little strip. And the reason, there's two reasons. Let me show you. There's two reasons I use a cutting disc. One, look at my field. That is tiny. It's a little 1/8 cut line. If there's something wrong or if I'm not in the right spot, that's not hard to get rid of. That's not hard to fix. Another reason, easier to control. I can cut myself a nice clean line. Now, I went around it probably, I don't know, 6 times or so. I went around it enough to cut me in about a 1/16 of an inch, and then I hit it with a hammer. Now look, at 1/16 of an inch, I got lucky. Look at that line. I never even actually touched the yoke itself. So that's good. But what I was getting at is cut in a little bit, check. Cut in a little bit, check. Cut in a little bit, check. Hit it with a hammer a couple times. See what it does. You don't want to cut all the way into this yoke if you're doing this, because then you're screwed. You got to weld all that together, and then getting your balance back and getting all that stuff, it's going to be a pain in the ass. So cut a little bit, check. There's times you wish the camera was just on, you know? Let's check this out. Remember, I said I cut about a 1/16 inch deep line, and I spaced them out a 1/4 inch. Boom, literally just drive shaft. You can see where I'm right into the weld, perfect. I mean, I couldn't have hit any damn better. I'm peeling it off the yoke. So, that's where I'm at. So we can throw this piece away. Let's check it out. Let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, so now that I've got that all cut off, check it out. This, with a little bit of love, will slide right back in there now. Boom. And then we just buzz her back together like she was. Bob's your uncle. That's what we wanted, man. Now I can clean everything up. We can get to having some fun. So I know somebody out there is going to say, you cannot do that without a dial indicator telling you how perfect it is. And guess what? They're right. You can't do perfect without an indicator. You can't do it. It's impossible. Without doing this with a dial indicator telling you where this is off in the thousandths and tens of thousandths and blah, blah, blah. You can't. I'm telling you, you can't. Now, what you can do is some old school ass tricks. So, one of the reasons the way I cut it, like I said, is because that's going to help it go back together. Another thing, take your field of view. Find something to set this thing up on. find something to hold it for you. I can spin it. There's relatively no run out on this because of the way it spins. Well, I hit the weight that time, but there's relatively no run out. It wants to spin, you get the point. So what I can do is, I have two tricks here. One, my field of view, for me standing looking down, is like this, right? I can take my pen and I can draw a straight line, or a line. Find a spot to draw a line, right? So now, there's my straight line. I know that's straight. I can line that straight line up with my field of view, looking just past this revealed edge right here, and follow that around and look for any bit of variance between these two pieces whatsoever. That's one of the tricks you can do. Another trick that you can do is find a 90-degree edge, or like my squares that are laying over there, line this up, this cut edge, this natural edge, line that up with that 90-degree corner and spin it very slowly. See how my hand's over this too? I'm keeping any wobble out of it or moving around the jack stand. And I'm just looking for close. Right now this thing is close. It's actually closer than I thought I'd ever get it. But I wanted to show everybody that there is some ways to do it. Now, is this right? No. Is this correct? No. Is this going to be perfect without being balanced and a dial indicator and it being buzzed in correctly? No. Will this work for what we're building? Yes. Will this save a little bit of money? Yes. Could this destroy our rear end and our transmission? Possibly. Doubt it, but possibly. Just wanted to clarify that for everybody. So, I did this a little different than I normally do. I want to try it. Could be a horrible damn idea. Could be the best thing that ever happened. What I did is I went ahead and did a weld. This weld's a little choppy. Is what it is. But I went ahead and did a weld, and then after I did a weld, I ground it smooth, flushed everything up, and then went through and tacked it on top again one more time. Like I said, that weld's a little choppy. Who gives a shit? Okay, so I sectioned 2 inches out of the drive shaft. I've rear hooked the drive shaft to the rear pig. Before, the drive shaft was pressed all the way, or the yoke for the drive shaft was pressed all the way into the transmission, which is not good. It will not give it any flex up and down. So now I can do some rear adjusting, get everything centered again where I want it, and then figure out where this brace needs to be and send this thing home, get it done, weld it in place, everything be good to go. So that's where we're at, that's what we're doing, and that's what we're gonna finish. All right, so I went ahead and welded all this together for where those shocks go. I mean, shit's thick. But as you can see, I'll show over here because I know you can see it. Inside, bringing these two pieces together, inside, bringing these two pieces together, inside, bringing this together. And then inside, outside, on the plate I did all the way around. This is smooth right here because I ground this off right here. I think this is where I'm gonna put the battery. I'm gonna come up with some kind of battery box system. But it's now time, while we have everything out, to might as well just go ahead and do our 2-inch pieces that go here and get rid of all that, fill it all in and make it all one piece. Boy, this thing is stout, let me tell you. I've been jumping up and down on it. I've done all kinds of stuff. And all it does is make my fat jiggle. It doesn't do anything. So, hopefully we didn't overshoot it. But, even if we did, she'll just be stiff, throw the rear tires out even easier. All right, so I've got the rear cross member for the shocks in place. I made an absolute mess of the whole damn shop. But, nonetheless, check this out. Boom. Oh, it's great. Now, I've climbed up here, I've jumped on it. It doesn't move. These shocks don't move at all. I mean, like, no give. But I'm only 220 pounds, so that doesn't surprise me. Drive shaft back in place, all welded up. Rear end, look at that. That mount is just, it's damn beautiful, guys. So, like another hillbilly video he wanted. He wants them just to be to the point. Just playing hillbilly. By the way, good to see some video footage on your channel. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Broken Bolt, check him out. He's just starting. Give him some love, give him some faith, and give him some time. For the rest of you, if you like this video, if you like what I'm doing, and you like the Tacoma, the Drift Tacoma, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, ain't nothing to it but to do it, and to do it right the first damn time. Every time. Thank you. I'm out.